Hey everyone, it's Clint Salter, your host for Dance Teachers Unite for 2015. Hello, this is day one. Welcome to what's going to be an amazing 10 days where you're going to learn from 32 expert speakers on how they live their life, how they run their business. And I'm super excited to bring you our first speaker for our 10-day summit, the amazing Mia Michaels. Hey Mia, how are you?
Hey Clint, how are you?
I'm really well. Mia, for those that might not know about you, maybe they've been living under a rock, I'm not sure, but can you kind of give us in like 60 seconds, what is it that you do, and tell me what's your big mission in the world?
That's a big question for the first one. I feel like the word choreographer is a little small for me. It's funny because I feel like I'm first a creator, a dreamer, an artist. I paint life in the human body, and I tell stories through the human body. Movement is my vocabulary instead of, I do talk a lot, so I do have a big mouth, but it's very much, it's a gift, I feel like, and it's something I've been doing my whole life. I mean, I was born into a dance family, so I was, swinging a bottle in diapers to the music, back in the day. So, my mission as a choreographer, creator of movement, director. I'm now moving it as well into directing and producing. And my big mission in the world, I think. I've always been very goal-oriented, for sure, but I think it's become more of a day-to-day goal. Every day I wake up, it becomes a goal, not only as a human, as a woman, as an artist, that I challenge myself to be better than I was the day before. And that can get exhausting, and it can get very exhausting, but I always believe that every day is a gift. So every day that you're given another gift, you take it to the extreme, and you every hour, every second, every minute, how do I become a better artist, a better person, a better dreamer, a better creator, and it's always just challenging myself that way. To me, that is my mission, and whatever comes with that, so be it. So if I become this massive global entrepreneur, creator, inspiration, then so be it, if that is what it's supposed to be. But basically, I take it a day at a time.
I love that. Waking up every day and having the intention really of kind of living that day to its fullest. Mia, do you have like a morning routine? I don't know if you've read the book, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, but do you have a routine that you kind of get up in the morning and you do something to get you ready to kind of step into that day?
As soon as I wake up, I just am very aware of, I'm a big, I have a lot of faith. I come from a very, faith-oriented family. So I definitely say thank you, and I'm very, grateful for the next day. So I immediately, I'm aware of that. Then I get out of bed. I kiss my English bulldog, who I'm obsessed with, Lily Pop Michaels, and she's just my love. And then I get a big thing of coffee, and I start working. I go right to work. And I'm trying now to get more into, before I get into the work, is to either do yoga or to basically get the physical on, because I could sit and create and dream for days and never move. And so that has to also be a part of it as well.
Yeah, of course. Mia, I'd love to know, you kind of touched on it then, but I'd love to know how you continue to be creative. Like, what do you draw on to stay fresh and current, and I guess true to yourself as well? What kind of keeps you in that state of being able to create? Because for our studio owners who might have to teach like 30 routines in a year, and they're like, I need an idea, or I'm stale. I mean, where do you draw upon for your creation of the work that you do?
I pull all my stuff from my life, inspiration of my life, situations, things I come across, from paintings to pictures to some character that walks by. I'm very creative in my mind, so I can make something this big turn into miles and miles long. I like to take a normal story and make it very, very extraordinary. I think being aware of the magic that is around us at all times, I think is very, very important as an artist, that we can get so caught up in the mundane and our everyday life, and we have a schedule and we have to do this and we have a class to teach and we have this, that we lose sight of the magic that is happening around us all the time at every single moment of our life. And it's really about being aware of how to unveil the norm of, oh gosh, we have this to keep, we got to do this, and see that everywhere you look, every single thing that I see right now, whether it's the curtains behind me or this lamp or the texture of a pillow or that you can actually turn it into art in some way, because you can take the textures and go, oh my gosh, that would be great for a costume. Or the light, oh, how cool would that be if we filled the whole stage with these light posts? And then, you know, and every single thing around us could be used as an inspiration to create from. And I think that is real important, to just keep that in your radar at all times, because it's right. It's easy access to us. We just have to be aware of it and check into it.
Yeah.
For sure. You know, and of course we get burnt out. I get burnt out all the time. I try to find my mini little vacations inside of my day. And whether that's meeting up with a friend for coffee or going, you know, having or going for a walk or doing, I try to once a day, try to take, whether it's an hour or some, if I can, I really try to take my mini vacations inside of my everyday, because that is the only thing that can keep us like feeling like we have some sort of balance.
Yeah, I think that's so important for our studio owners to hear, because as you can probably appreciate and have seen with the amount of dance studios that you've been in and witnessed and grown up in, is that studio owners give their life to their business. Like, it's their identity. In some circumstances, it's who they are. It's what they breathe and what they live. So I love that you've just said, just find it in your day. You know, find that time in your day to say, sure, I'll meet you for lunch. I mean, how do you have to kind of make yourself do that? Like, do you have to kind of go, I've got to make sure that I've got that time for me today. Otherwise I just keep working.
I'm a very extreme person. So I work very hard, but I also look forward to playing hard. And my way of playing hard is my little mini vacations. And whether that's going to have an amazing sushi dinner with a friend of mine, or taking a walk, you know, down by the river with Lily, you know, those are the moments for me that feed me. Those are the ones that make me just go, I deserve this, because I've been working so hard all day, that this is something for me. And I think that's very important, that as a workhorse, like I know studio owners are, and dance teachers and choreographers and dancers, that we have got to give ourselves some nourishment to our souls, in order to be able to give and to inspire our children. Because if we're burnt out, then we have nothing to give them. You know, so it's so important.
Completely.
And, you know, it's interesting for me too, because the older I get, the more knowledge I have, the more inspiration I love to teach even more. And it's funny, because as a choreographer, director, teaching for me is very selfless. It's very selfless. Whereas choreography and doing projects and stuff is very selfish, because you're doing it for you and your vision and what you want. So you have the balance of those two things are awesome. Awesome.
I love that. Do you, in keeping on that same kind of the same topic, because today's all about a mindset makeover, you know, how do we get ready for the next 10 days for the summit, but how do we approach going into every single day? Do you find it hard to switch off? I mean, we're so connected via social media and our phones and the laptop and the computer. I mean, do you find it difficult to kind of disconnect yourself and Do you find that that's important, that you need to have that time away from technology?
I think it's very important. I try to do the rule, which I'm not good at it, but I'm trying to be better, is that, you know, it is a business, right? It's a business. So if you can give yourself business hours, stick to that. Try to stick to that unless there's an emergency, and go, you know, because other people shut it off after 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, they're done. And it's like, well, why can't we? Because I think that's important, because what is really going to get done other than creativity on your own at night, like business stuff, it's like it can wait till the morning. And I just feel like it's so important, and it's so hard for all of us to put our phones down. So hard to put that down because we have this now weird addiction to it, of connection at all times, you know. And I feel that it will take some hard work and discipline to kind of be able to disconnect, but I think it's important because it's getting crazy. I find that the social media thing is crazy because people they're building careers off of social media, and not talent and not hard work. It's just like, I'm famous through social media, and it's a very interesting world right now. It's a very interesting world. So I think that there's balance in everything, and the balance of knowing how to shut off and be good to yourself is the only way that you can be a great creator, a great teacher, a great inspiration to anyone. Because if you're constantly like this, you know what I mean? Like how it's a very interesting subject for sure.
Yeah, and I think for our studio owners who are seeing their students that are growing up, like even their little kids that are like 8, that are like in the foyer with their phones, and they might not be texting people, but they're playing games. So I feel personally we're so connected to these devices that we've never been more disconnected from what's going on around us. I mean, how would you suggest that our teachers kind of combat that? Like if we're in the classroom with these kids who like go for a water break, and I've seen it, you know, they grab their water, they drink their water, and they're like on their phones. And it's like, guys, we're in class.
Yeah. I mean, what can we do other than not allow them in the room, or, you know, or they have to check them in at the front desk or something, you know, they can have them.
Phone in the bag, phone in the bag.
No, I was literally I just taught at a studio a couple weeks ago, and this girl she was clearly the worst one in the class, okay? And she was the most disconnected from work ethic, disconnected from understanding what it was to take a 2-hour class and really discipline yourself and work hard. She had no idea. She literally, and this has never happened, she literally went in the back when we were doing groups, and she took her phone out, and she was standing in the back of the room on her phone while another group was going on. And if this was me in the old days, I would have, oh my God, I can't imagine that, you know, what would have happened. But I just quietly walked over to her, and I literally took her phone out of her hand, and I took it and I put it in my bag. And she was just like, I think she was in shock, you know. And then she came back later, and she apologized. And I said, Miss Thing, you cannot, that cannot happen. And so we went into this whole, you know, education of why it's so disrespectful and why you cannot have that in your class. And, you know, so it was a big thing. It was a big thing that day. And she was mortified. So that
I'm sure. But she probably will never. She will probably never pull out her phone again in class. You mentioned something interesting then, just Mia. You said back in the old days, you know, it would have been different, which kind of tells me that there's probably been some growth there, or you've changed the way that you work. I mean, what has shifted for you? What has changed that makes you different, and what are you now?
I definitely have grown. I have much more acceptance. I have more patience. I still have a bite. I mean, I always will, because that bite comes from a passion, that comes from this drive and this passion that I have. And I'm very clear. And some people misunderstand the bite, because it's really, I don't consider it a bite. I consider it clear and direct and informative. And I'm not someone that's going to beat around the bush and make you, and like be polite. Like I'm like kind of like the Trump, right? Because like Donald Trump is this, so he just goes right for it. And I'm very honest, and that has been definitely misunderstood for many years. Even when I was on the show, I think it was misunderstood when I was very honest about how I felt about a dancer and what they were lacking, and I didn't beat around the bush. And some people didn't like it. And I'm sorry that I'm not going to just constantly make you feel good, because I'm come from the school of teachers were clear and they were honest and they told us what we needed to do and why we needed to do it. And nowadays it's like you have to all of a sudden be careful about how you everything is so, you've got to be so careful, so I mean, I feel like with age I have definitely learned how to be a better teacher and be a better inspiration and be more humanly accessible. I was like this little mystery thing that I just always stayed away from people, and it was all about my creativity, and I was in this very it wasn't a dark hole, but it was definitely my own little corner, and I kept myself on my own island, and that didn't really serve me. I mean, creatively I was always in this creative place, which was great, but it didn't serve me with my connection to people. And that has changed quite a bit. And the older I get, the more I'm becoming more Mamma Mia, totally, where I've always been given that name, but I feel like now more than ever, I'm really moving into that space of nurturing, tough love, inspiration, push, and mentoring. And so I kind of love that. I love that there's some sort of acceptance and just a softening. Is definitely a good word that has happened through me over the years. Even though I have all these tats, I still am a soft.
You look hard, but not so hard.
I'm not. I'm a big teddy bear for sure.
You just talked then about like nurturing and mentoring, and I think it's something that's so crucial for our talent, for our students, that so many of them live their life in the studio. They go to school, but school's like kind of the part-time thing, and then they come to dance and they live dance and they breathe dance, and it's who they are. I mean, what can we be doing as studio owners and as teachers to nurture that, to encourage the talent? But I think so more importantly, prepare them for what's potentially ahead, because it's not all roses. As you know, we don't get 100 yeses and just one no. We get one yes and 100 no's. I mean, how can we really kind of help them and I guess prepare them for what's ahead in their future?
As a dancer, yes. As an artist.
Yeah.
I mean, I think as a teacher, the first step, and this is what I learned from my father, who was my first dance teacher, is that as a teacher, the first goal is to make them fall in love with dance. That's the first step, right? So as you have these young kids, the goal is not to throw technique down their throats. It's basically, how do we make them fall madly in love with dance? Once you have them there, you can go anywhere. And then you start infusing the technique and the hard work and the discipline. But you got to get them to fall in love first. And then the creativity happens. And then it's building character, building discipline, building technique. Technique is a huge thing right now that I feel like we're lacking in contemporary dance, which is that's another topic that I would love to talk about. Technique, physicality, discipline, focus, respect, all these things, work ethic. When a dancer walks into a room, how they walk into the room out of respect, how do they start a class, how do they work? That to me is way more important than their talent. Talent is like almost last on the list, because if you have dancers that are they could be amazing, but if they have a lazy bone, or if they're just like have an attitude, or just think that they won't work, because nobody wants to work with that. People would rather work with dancers that are less talented, but so available to you, and with their body and their souls, and just so that they just live, breathe it so intensely. These are the kind of artists that you want to train, because those are the ones that are going to work all the time, and they're going to be a representation of you as a teacher. So really, it's like a bit of old school of how we used to teach, and and that is so important, because we created some amazing artists and some disciplined people that are nonstop working. And I think that is so important, to go back to what are the values of what we learned when we were growing up, you know. I think it's very, very important. Very important.
That's such valuable information. And I'm sure so many of our studio owners are going to resonate 100% with what you just said, because they see it every day in their students, and they're trying to do that. You know, when a new student comes into the studio, you know, I think their intention is to make them fall in love with dance. But I love the way that you just articulated that. I think I think that our studio owners are going to be writing a lot of notes from our masterclass today, which is fantastic. You've talked a lot about discipline, actually, as we've kind of gone through our conversation so far. What is discipline for you as an individual, as a professional? And how do you incorporate discipline into your life?
Discipline, you know, it's funny because, you know, I'm Italian, and I love food. I love food, and that's not a I mean, everyone knows I love food, you know, I'm a big girl. And I always find that my biggest problem with discipline is my eating, because I love food. I have a very Italian mentality of life, passion, love, art, music, you know, in that feel of just that live life fully, you know. And sometimes, you know, my non-discipline of that is that's a fun non-discipline. But you know, discipline as an artist for me is a very interesting thing, because it comes about, it's about work ethic, and it's about how, you know, if you're working on something, we're going to get tired. We're going to get discouraged. Our humanness is going to kick in. But discipline is about pushing and pushing and pushing. And even when you're tired, even when you don't want to, even when you feel like there's nothing there, how am I going to find anything else? It's always there. That's the thing, is that we just keep pushing. And you know, how many times have we gone into a studio and not wanted to go into the studio, but we go in the studio, and then that night or that day, something comes out of that time we were in the studio or in the rehearsal, that you go, that was a spark of something that you haven't never touched before. And it was a piece of gold that you found. And that piece of gold will now take you on this other journey as a creator. And I'm always digging for the unknown nuggets of gold, always, because if you can find one movement, if you can get in a studio and move a little differently, even a little differently for one step that's completely new to your body, that you're like, whoa, I've never done that before. That newness is going to now take you somewhere else. It's going to take you now somewhere else, that's now going to take that somewhere else. And your development as an artist will grow in that moment. So you never know when that's going to hit. So discipline is like the backbone of going, you know what, I'm going to go in the studio, I'm going to dig some more, And then when you get in there, you might find one, you might find two, you might find 20 things all of a sudden that day. You never know when inspiration is going to hit. When you get in that zone, you never know when that zone hits, and you have to be ready, and you got to be ready and prepared for that zone. And that is when, and that's why I keep going back to, I've been doing this forever, and I keep going back because I never know when it's going to hit. And when it hits, it's so magical. And when it doesn't hit, guess what? It's going to hit again. So it's like, you just got to be ready and make sure you're always aware of what's around, ready, just prepared and ready to go.
Yeah.
Because that's the beauty of being an artist. That's the beauty of it. That's the thing. It's not a 9-to-5, an artist. An artist it's like this. It goes in so many directions, and you never know when your artist is going to just be like, listen up, here it is.
Yeah, even I was thinking like even at 2 a.m. in the morning when that song, you wake up, you're just kind of like lying in bed and a song kicks in and you're like moving and you're like,
Yeah.
it's 2 a.m., go away, come back in
Yeah.
the morning. Does that happen to you?
I'm a good sleeper, but
Yeah.
you know what? Again, all of a sudden you'll hear a song and you're just like, oh my God, this song. Oh my, or this, or you'll see something. You're like, oh, that's amazing. And I always find that my inspiration, creativity definitely happens later at night for me. So it's like, okay, so I'm going to say this from your morning to say 7, this would be a perfect creative day for me and a work day. From 10, let's say from 10 to 7 or 10 to 6, business. You take a 2-hour break. You do your thing or whatever with it's your family, whether it's your friends, whatever you take time for yourself. And then at nighttime is for your creative. That's for your creative self. And that's the time that you take for yourself creatively, and you dream and you paint these amazing pictures in your brain and in your heart that will take you into a much more creative place the next day in the studio.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's great. Mia, you just said 10, 10 to 6 or 10 to 7 is business. What's business for Mia Michaels?
Business is I'm on a mission right now, and I'm doing, from not only teaching, from television shows to Broadway shows to the website thing. There's a bunch of stuff that I'm doing, and that is, you're the boss. I'm the boss. So I'm running everything and everybody. So I have to make sure that things are being done. It's emails, it's phone calls, it's scheduling, it's making sure that I'm on top of everything. And then the art, the funny thing is the more successful you get, the less time you have creatively. It's more about the business. And it's really about running your business. And then when you get the chance, when you have the 2 hours in the studio, or you have you got to learn how to turn it on and turn it off. And that's tough, but it's not the most important thing. The creativity, especially in this industry, it's about the other stuff. It's about your work ethic, and it's about your drive and your business sense and your responsibility and your professionalism, and all of that stuff is most important. And then if you have creative to back it up, great.
You just, you've touched on so many things that I think our studio owners feel, because, you've been a creative and you grew up in a dance studio as a dancer, and now you're running a business in this space. So it's that whole thing of kind of filling, bridging the gap, being a creative, a technician, to a business owner. I mean, what are the things that you've done, if anything, that's kind of been like, making a decision around, I need to learn about this in my business, or I need to learn about the finances or the marketing or kind of, revenue models or whatever it might be. I mean, how have you kind of gone from the technician, which is the choreographer and the director, to a business owner? Or has it been quite organic?
It has been organic. It really has, because only, especially if you're running your own business, you know how you want to run your business. You know how you want to run your school. You know how you want to run everything. It's all inside of us, and if we need help with like social media or things like that, or finances, have a great team around you. Hire people they're specialized in the certain areas that we are weak in, and then you have an amazing team, and an amazing team creates great success. So you want to, I'm not the best at social media, so I hire someone that does that. I'm not the best at, making sure budgets are here, so I hire someone. So, I think it's knowing our strengths and knowing our weaknesses is a very important part of it too, for sure.
So such an important message for our studio owners who wear multiple hats. Generally they're the teacher, they're the costume coordinator, they're doing their timetable, they're the marketing coordinator, they're the accountant. How do you kind of go about looking or outsourcing, getting the right people in your team when, for a studio owner that's like, we're not making a huge amount of money. I mean, how do we kind of plan ahead to bring someone on board? What are your thoughts around that?
I mean, I feel like if you're just starting out, of course you have to take a lot of it on yourself. Okay. You know, like we all do. And that's a
Hmm.
big part of starting up a business.
Hmm.
But as it grows, I think, and then you'll also know what areas you definitely not need help in, or there's areas that you go, I can do this with some help, you know? And I think it's just being really clear about what your goals are, what you want to accomplish, and how to strategize, you know, financially, as well as when it's time to bring people in to help. But I think, you know, if you have, I believe that sometimes you don't even need big businesses to help. I believe that if you have one or two key people by your side that can really dedicate, you know, it's like a trio, you know, a holy trinity, you know, that, you know, has the same drive and the same passion that you do, you're golden. Because what you don't know, you can learn. And if you dig deep further enough, if you find you can dig and you can learn everything that you need to learn, you know. But I think having two or three people around you that can help run your business with you, and really people that you trust, people that have the same vision, same that they, you know. And it's also, you don't want someone that wants to be you. That's a big thing. You don't want someone really that wants your job, because for some reason it just always never turns out very well, because they usually just, you know, wind up, you know, opening down the street, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and our studio owners will identify with that 100%.
We had that many times in our studio in Miami, you know. And so it's just like, you gotta, it's important who you bring into your team, you know, and loyalty and integrity and good
Mm.
people. Make sure, get those good ones, because they're out there.
They are. They are. They're definitely
They
out there.
are.
Mia, you just touched on vision. How do you stay aligned and on track to your vision? Because I think we can get so caught up in the day to day of life and new projects and shiny objects. How do you kind of stay true to, you know what, this is the path that I'm on and this is my vision?
You know, it's funny that you said shiny objects, because I have to say I've had a huge transformation in I would say the last 6 months to a year, because I was in LA, and you know, I got kind of caught up in what did success look like. Success looked like something. Success looked like the house and the car, and it looked like certain clothes, and it looked like this, and it looked like that. And I have to say, Clint, like I got brought back to New York, you know, and I got rid of my house in LA and everything. And I wound up getting rid of the car. I got rid of all the excess shiny objects. I got rid of so much shiny objects, and I got rid of all the stuff that what you're trained, you grow up going, well, you know, you want to show it, you know, I'm successful. I made it. I did this. I'm this, I'm that. And all of a sudden I got to a place where I was like, I don't want any of that stuff, because all that stuff is keeping me away from the authenticity of who I am as an artist, not the ego of an artist, but the true self of, in the sense of who I am authentically as Mia Michaels, the artist, not Mia Michaels, the brand. And that became very interesting to me, of letting go of ego and letting go of what success looked like for Mia Michaels. And now I've downsized. I've gotten rid of so much of just stuff that society would say, well, you should have that. If you're successful, you need to show people that you're successful. And it's like, ever since I got rid of everything, literally, I am so connected to myself, and so connected to my artistry, and so connected to the higher reason, the higher calling of why I am here to do what I'm supposed to do. And you know, being on the television for 10 years, that really, it does that to you. It can really do that to you. And then all of a sudden you're like, that's not who I am. That has nothing to do with why I create and why I have been put on this earth as an artist. I've been put on this earth as an artist to affect lives and to inspire and to grow and to be true to the gift I was given. And that to me is the most important thing. And so it's a really cool time for me right now, because I feel like
Mm.
I'm a newborn with a lot of information, you know?
I love it. And so I guess so many of our studio owners, when defining success, they kind of think about what everyone else is defining success to be, which is just exactly kind of what you just said then. It's like, well, I've got to have the house and the car, and I've got to have this partner, and I've got to have the happy children. And, it's kind of like, I've got to have all of these things to be
Yeah.
successful. I mean, do you now define success? What do you define success as for yourself?
Happiness.
Happiness.
Happiness and fulfillment, and really being happy, truly happy with yourself and with and creativity is a big part of that, because that's so much of who I am, so that brings a lot of joy to me. So being happy, truly happy. And being a studio owner, again, it's that, finding the balance of the business and the artistry. And the artistry is that's where the joy comes in. That's where the joy happens. That's where the happiness happens. And where the business is, that's just like, it's show business, and show business is not just entertainment. It is a business. And so it's, how do we balance that? And I think that is very important, because you won't, no matter how creative you are, if you don't have a business sense and you don't know how to, or have the right people running it, you won't have the business to be creative in. So I think they go hand in hand. It's very, very important to have both.
So such an important message. I appreciate you saying that. Challenges we've talked about a little bit. They've come up, in our conversation so far today. How do you tackle? How do you treat the challenges that come up in your life? Whether it's a job that might come up that you don't get, whether it's something that's going on personally for you that doesn't work out. I mean, how do you approach challenges? How do you move through them? How do you take the lessons and move through to the other side?
You always have to realize when you're getting hit hard that this too shall pass, because it always passes, always. And when you're in it, you sometimes don't realize that it's going to pass. We don't even know how long it's going to take, but it will pass. And my dad always used to say, life is like a roller coaster. And when it goes up, enjoy it, because it's going to go down. And when it goes down, just hang on, because you know it's going to go back up again. And that's the cycle of life. And so no matter how hard we get hit, it will pass. And just buckle down and get through it. And I think for me, and I also, like, even recently, I didn't get a job that I wanted. And I remember at first, a couple of days, I was like, like it hit me. I wanted that job. Now it's so funny, because actually this was not a couple days ago, this was a couple months ago. And now that I look back, I am so grateful that I didn't get that job, because if I would have gotten the job, that this and this that's happening now wouldn't be happening if I was working on this other job. So sometimes you just have to trust that everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. You have to trust that. And there's sometimes it goes against of like, well, I wanted that. Well, too bad, because guess what? There's something way better waiting for us. So we just have to, know that. And that's how I navigate through stuff. That's it.
Yeah. I think it's great. One of my mentors said to me, she's a big believer in this too shall pass. And she teaches that concept. And exactly like you said with the roller coaster, what your dad said to you, enjoy the ride. I love what you said. It's going to go down. Hang on. And I think so many of our studio owners who maybe are going through challenges at the moment are like, I don't know how long I can hang on for. How long do I hang on for? I mean, what's kind of your thoughts around, how long do we hang on, and what can we do to kind of help ourselves get out of that situation? Because I think a lot of people as well sit in the pit. As one of my mentors, Terry Hawkins, would say, sit in the pit of misery, and they just kind of sit there for too long, and they don't kind of help themselves kind of take off and spiral into a new place, a new and a better place.
Absolutely. I think that You have to know, again, it's like tapping into your instincts. Like when you can't, if nothing is changing, there's a reason why nothing is changing. That means that we have to do something different to make that change, because something that we're not doing or something that we are doing is not creating momentum in our world, and we're in a stagnant place. And so, you know, when you're sitting in something for way too long, then there's something wrong with something that we are doing or not doing. And I think that is where we have to take responsibility and go, you know what? I've been doing it like this so many years and it's always been the same. Okay, well then if it's always been the same and we're doing it the same way, that's the problem. Then we have to change something we're doing in order to get a different result. So I think being very aware of that, you know, is key as well.
So, and I laugh that you say that, because I say with studio owners all the time, and they're like, you know, every year they go into a new dance season, then they like, oh, I want new students or whatever. And I say, what are you doing? They're like, I'm doing the same thing I did last year. And I just know I'm going to get more students. And I'm like, well, you're probably not, because if you're doing the same thing you've always done, I call it hope marketing. You know, you're kind of just hoping that things are going to be different. So I love that you just touched on that, because I think if we think we're doing the same thing over and over again and we think we're going to get another result, we're not. Generally, we're not. And probably not just an even result, probably a worse result.
Yeah, I agree. We are responsible for our success. What we do with it every single day, we are responsible for it. It doesn't just like, I'm going to be like, poof, the fairy is going to come. And, you know, I wish it was that easy, but it's not. We are responsible for the success of our everyday and of what we bring to our lives. So.
Totally. And I think, look, if I think it was easy, everyone would be doing it. You know, there'd be a million Mia Michaels out there if it was easy.
But then that comes down to discipline, right? That comes down to pushing and working even when we don't want to. Yeah.
I love it. Mia, you're doing some awesome work with artists at the moment. I know you've got a new project that you're working on around mentoring and nurturing artists and performers. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I'm very excited about this. This is like my new baby. It is a global artists membership website that will be launched sometime in October, possibly November 1st at the latest. And it is like, if you can imagine, it's like jumping down the rabbit hole with me. And it's like going into this place. It's like an escape from the real world. And it basically goes into the place of inspiration, mentoring. I will be mentoring up and coming like choreographers, dancers, dance studio owners, dance teachers, regular artists. It's music sources, it's inspiration, it is back behind the scenes stuff that no one will have ever seen, from my archives from the beginning of my career to now. It's me just really guiding them through and being full access, where we have access to me. There's going to be classes, master classes via live satellite. There's going to be oh my God, there's so much. I'm just so
I can tell how excited you are.
It's a huge project, and it's like mine. And it's like, so as soon as you tap into it, it's going to feel like this other world. And I'm going really like and it's also the only place that I'm going to be premiering new works of mine. So no one's going to be able to see it. It's going to be our secret little world that we go to and we meet underground, and it's all about inspiration, mentoring. And I'm going to be basically really promoting studio of the month, dancer of the month, choreographer of the month. I'm really helping other people's careers. And I'll be doing like giving them assignments and going, okay, you know, send me a video of, I want this theme based, da da da. And then I pick artists of the month. And then studios also, they can submit pieces that I will basically dissect and give notes on and help them to make their work better for, you know, their students as well as for competitions. And so I'm real, like, there again, Mamma Mia, full effect. Like I'm going to be it's full access. So I'm excited.
That's amazing. Yeah, I can tell. What's it called?
It's called MiaMichaelsLive.com.
Awesome.
And that will be, and that's, yeah. So
Awesome.
very cool. It's very trippy. It's very cool. It's, you know, because when you get hired for projects, you know, you have to live under a certain umbrella, but this is my project now. So I get to be everything that I have ever wanted to be for all my followers and my fans and my students and people that I want to help and to be there for them. Because when I was growing up, I didn't really have a mentor. I just kind of figured it out on my own. And I remember one day, and I was choreographing, and I was like, it's got to be more difficult than this. It's got to be more difficult than this, because there has to be, I must be doing something wrong. So I wrote a letter. Now mind you, I'm dating myself. A letter to Twyla Tharp. And I said, how do you make a dance? And she responded in a letter. And it's in my office, and there's 5 rules, and it had nothing to do with actually making a dance. It was very, very important information that she gave me, but it had to do with basically, you know, like, don't let history intimidate you. You know, let everything be a progression of the last thing you've done. Never go backwards, you know, things like that. And these were all like rules that I actually live by now. But back then I was like, how do you make a dance? I already knew how to make a dance because it was inside of me, because I already knew. And that's the beauty of being making dance for dance teachers and choreographers, is that there is no formula. Don't think that there's a formula. Make it, just listen to your guts, listen to your instinct, listen to the music, listen to your, what are you trying to say, and follow that. And don't disregard that, or don't doubt it, because it's already there inside of us.
Mia, you're killing me right now. This is amazing. I mean, I think our studio owners yeah. I think our studio owners got their notepads, and they're filled up one already. It's insane, guys. You're gonna have to rewatch this masterclass with Mia. Mia, I want to wrap up with you by asking you, what are your three kind of gold nuggets on how you live an amazing life every day? What's going to help what's going to help our studio owners, really create a thriving business where they can impact a lot of people and they can earn money, because guys, money is important. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow. But what are your kind of tips?
All summed up in what we just said, basically, for this last 3 of them. Basically, I mean, I stay true to yourself. Listen to your guts. Listen to what you want out of your life, what you want to leave behind in your life, how you want to be remembered, what you want to accomplish. I think all of those things. And most of all, to enjoy the ride, to be happy, because life is short, and go for everything that you could even imagine, and go for it, because you can achieve it. If you want a giant gazillion-dollar business studio, guess what? You can have it. If you want to be a world-renowned artist, guess what? You can be it. It's really about the hard work, the discipline, the focus, the passion, and most of all, staying true to who you are as your uniqueness, and authentically who you are and how you were made, because we were all made so beautifully different, and stay true to that. And that'll take you far.
Wow. Guys, hello. Day 1 interview masterclass number 1 with Mia Michaels, and you have 9 more days to go and another 31 masterclasses to watch. I'm super excited for you to join us over the next few days. Mia, I could talk to you for hours. I think we could do a 2-day conference or something.
I would love that. We need to do this again. I would love to.
Yeah, for sure. M&C, Mia and Clint live.
I love it. Do a television show. Come on. Let's do a talk show. Oh, we should. Let's do it. Come on.
That would be good.
Let's do it.
See, getting creative, planning ideas. Mia, where can our studio owners and teachers go for more information about you?
MiaMichaels.com. That's my website, so they can go through there. If they have any questions on anything in the new immersive website, they can go through there as well, miamichaels.com.
Yeah, and you've also got a Facebook page which I follow and I love because I love all the photos that you post.
Facebook official, yes. There's two. There's my personal, and then there's my Facebook official. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Mia, thank you so much for your time and what you shared with us, all of our studio owners and teachers today. It's been so delightful to be able to connect and hear your story.
Thank you. There's so much more to say too. I wish we did have more time, but next time.
Yeah, next time. And for sure, guys, jump on. We are now on day 1, which is Tuesday, the 6th of October. So make sure you check out me and Michael's live as well during the month to see when this awesome website goes live, and make sure you share it with your students as well. It just sounds amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.